if guns are bad, whether it was police or citizens or hunters buying guns. You've seen the different online sites not take the ads. You've seen cities try to pass laws banning gun shops in their city limits. We've seen all of this ad nauseum done over and over and over and over and over again. Now, Google is different because it now, one way or the other, controls around half of the advertising online and where people go and what happens. And that's why you've got the Attorney General of Texas suing them over their search results and monopolistic practices. It's just outrageous that they're able to basically get away with all of this. But now Google Shopping censors all gun ammo accessory results. It's the top story at Infowars.com in the featured news area. Actually, it's the second story. No, it's the first. I was correct the first time. They're in the featured news area. And it's got the announcement, and it's got the fact that they're telling them holsters, scopes, ammo, clips, you don't sell it. It says you don't have it in your advertising feed or you're not allowed to be picked up by the Google search. So controlling information, and they've already been caught with Amazon and others, where your results won't even show up. In fact, they delisted Infowars and Prisonplanet a few years ago from news. People always go to the web feed and go, we see you there. Alex is lying. The news feed, you know, it says shopping, maps, web, all those areas. You know, the one that says news, our articles aren't there unless other news groups, which they do, pick up our articles we write that are award-winning. I mean, we've won Project Censored Awards. I've been featured by Nightline, Rolling Stone, New York Magazine, New York Times. You name it, I've been in it. LA Times, Vanity Fair, GQ, all of it. You name it, we've been in it. We don't count, though. It doesn't matter if I have 15 million listeners a week. It doesn't matter if I have 3 million a day. Sunday show's got about 1.5 million on AM and FM, about 500,000 on the internet. That's before YouTube, folks, and millions and millions of views that way. I mean, but no, I don't exist. Google says that, oh, we're this open, free thing. People say, well, they're a corporation. Let them do what they want. Oh, yeah. Let Walmart lobby the government to put laws in place so that U.S. corporations can't operate and build things here so they can have monopolies with the Chinese government leadership. I have an article about that today. Raw story. China blocks Xi web searches after Bloomberg report how the vice president has made $376 million off making people giving contracts, basically, to be able to operate in the country. That's just blocked now off of all the search engines. And who helped build that firewall over there, the Great Firewall of China? Microsoft. This is censorship, ladies and gentlemen, and they don't want you knowing that. And now Hillary says that Obama is going to sign an executive order, said this a few months ago, got almost no attention, implementing the new treaty to ban all civilian ownership of firearms under the UN. Congress ratifies a treaty, and if it violates the Constitution, it's null and void, Marbury versus Madison. And that's the new thing. Last year, the ATF said, we will ban 63% of shotguns made in the last decade if they're bottom loading. If you can bottom load, they can be converted to carry clips, which is on a legitimate sporting function. That was the ATF announcement. Guys, type in ATF to ban shotguns. It'll be their own press release. They're back this year talking about it. No judge, no jury, no Congress, no law. They say shotguns are for sporting only when the Second Amendment's there for defense of your family against tyrants and common criminals. And by the way, the ATF told gun shops last year to do all this new reporting and stuff that wasn't law. This is the new model, where they just do it with executive orders. Okay, guys, I'm getting a feed here. It's the weirdest thing. I've never gotten a feed like this. I hear somebody talking in there. Okay, great. That was blasting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to your calls. But, I mean, there is that news that, We're just going to block you out of the search engine. Just altogether, you don't exist. This is the same thing the communist Chinese do. And it's like, oh, well, just don't use Google. Google is the government. It was funded, it was created by the CIA. Okay, it spies on you. Its whole motto of don't be evil is a sick joke, okay? People say, well, then don't use it. It has become the internet. It has become the marketplace. And they're building all these back doors. Google has been caught with thousands of trucks driving around Europe and the U.S. and Canada with masked, illegally stealing your passcodes and data. In fact, folks won't believe that. Type in Google caught stealing passcodes. And I mean, it was like Reuters AP. And no one got in trouble because it's a government institution. The government's spying illegally, so is Google. Google, you're a bunch of dirt bags. Your whole cover of hippies drinking beer and playing pinball at your headquarters, those are your fake front customer service development headquarters. Your headquarters is at NSA and that new NSA snooping center they're building up by Salt Lake. You know, that million-acre thing. I mean, that monstrosity or whatever it is. Oh, my God, 100,000 acre, whatever it is. I just get out of my life. Get out of my life, you monopoly people. Let's go to Carl in New Jersey. You're on the air, Carl. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking my call, man.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give you my personal experience about how a lot of Americans that I know that are so brainwashed by the New World Order. I'm an American. I'm a convert to Islam. I've been Muslim for about 12 years. I'm not Al-Qaeda. I don't believe in suicide bombing. I'm a big Ron Paul supporter.
You're not the Al-Qaeda being publicly funded by NATO to take over Libya and Syria?
No, I'm a Prisonplanet member. I love Ron Paul. I love freedom and liberty. I just want to live my life and, you know, just be left alone, you know?
Sounds pretty evil.
So a lot of Americans that I know that aren't Muslim, that they know that I'm Muslim, right? So when I try to talk to them and teach them about the Federal Reserve, the income tax, the IRS, the CFR, the Bilderbergs, pretty much your message and Ron Paul's message put together. I swear to God, these people literally tell me to shut up and stop preaching to them my Muslim or the Muslim propaganda, and that all this information is coming from Muslims.
Well, listen, here's the deal. It's fun to be, for 50 years we've been taught all Muslims are the devil, and in all these Hollywood movies, the bad guy's a Muslim and all this, and the good guy takes him out. And so, the real Al-Qaeda actually killing people, that's globalist run on record. That's even in Fox News now. That's supposed to be ignored, though. It's the fun of feeling superior and saying that you're bad is what matters to them. And they like it on CNBC when they say, foreign banks rule you, you're a slave to global government. They're like, oh, I like a foreign banker taking money out of my bank account with Baker bailout. I like that. That's fun to be a slave to foreign banks. But how dare anybody talk about it? I want the foreign banks to take all my money and to destroy my life. But remember, those people never count. Let them sit there.
You've heard Alex explain how the silver lungs generate.
Okay, we got 2 segments left. I'll be back tomorrow with a bigger 3-hour show and a bunch of guests and your calls. You know, the 4th of July, we celebrate that because that's when they signed the Declaration of Independence and took action against tyranny. And I will read on July 3rd, we're taking off July 4th, as I know most of you are, to engage in the pastimes of cheeseburgers and fireworks out at the lake with the family to enjoy what little of America's left. But my point is that everything in the Declaration of Independence, if you read that, that's what the government's doing again today. And it's so incredibly criminal. $2 trillion, $2.4 trillion, you want to be technical, CBS News, Associated Press, was stolen out of the Pentagon in the 8 years Bill Clinton was in charge of it. I have the congressional hearings, all of it. Just look it up. Guys, type that in for people watching. Radio listeners, you type it in. People are watching at prisonplanet.tv. Just type 2.4 trillion missing from the Pentagon. Well, actually, you have the CBS newscast. We even have the newscast in there on the computer. The point is that this is big business robbing things. And of course it's now coming out. Like Wayne LaPierre has come out and said, looks like Fast and Furious involves drug dealing by the government. Of course it does. And that's how we're going to get America back, is by the NRA getting hardcore. Because if reality's hardcore, you've got to get hardcore. The war on waste, CBS Evening News. September 10th, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declared war, not on foreign terrorists, the adversary close to home, the Pentagon bureaucracy. And it goes on to talk about $2.3 trillion. It was $2.4 trillion a few months. So I was going from memory. I said 2.4, excuse me. But again, they say, oh, transactions they can't track. It turned out almost all that was stolen over 8 years. And by the way, you think it stopped when Bush got in? It was over $4 trillion when he left. It's the bureaucracy. They do whatever they want. You know how I had Serpico, the famous cop on, the only cop on the force that couldn't be bought? It came out in court. Everybody was getting envelopes of cash. Those were just the grazers. The meat eaters were killing people and running the drugs themselves. That's the really corrupt cops. We don't want to live like that. And that's all corrupt government is. A microcosm of a corrupt police force is what a tyranny is. And Mexico's got one. You don't want to live there. North Korea's got one. You don't want to live there. Okay, this is not good for anybody in the final equation. Oh, it's fun to be corrupt if you're stealing when the country's still prosperous. We're not prosperous. We're on our deathbed politically, financially, spiritually. And I love this country. It's a wonderful nation with an incredible history. And I love this nation. You know, my family came over on both sides on the Mayflower. Was in the Texas Independence, the whole 9 yards. I'm as Americana as it gets. And I am so sick of globalist criminals attaching world government and empire and banker dominion to America and putting our flag on it, where we're hated worldwide, and then Americans have a sick pride in the empire like it's ours. We pay for it. We don't get the booty. At least in the British Empire, the Brits got some of the spoils. You don't get the spoils. You don't get the spoils. I mean, sure, they gave U.S. military envelopes. Even privates got about 30 grand. The tens of billions shipped in on those big pallets. I talked to family. I talked to other people. Colonels get millions. Generals get tens of millions. To be corrupt, though, now they're compromised. So they'll go along with this. Folks, this country is so corrupt, it would make your head spin. I spend all my time researching this, and I can't articulate in words how bad it really is. And now the corrupt ruling elite plan to go to an authoritarian, oppressive, martial law-style system to continue their power in the collapse they precipitated with all their stealing and thieving. There's no way out of this but to bring these people to justice. It is the only hope that we have. Okay, I'm done ranting. Let's go to your calls. Jason, Mike, Marcia, Angie, Aaron, Don. What's the best order? Who's the oldest caller here? And I'll go to whoever's first. Okay, top to bottom. Good. As soon as they get mixed up. Jason in Pennsylvania, you're on the air. Thank you so much for holding.
Alex Jones, I want to tell you something. You woke me up in 2008, and I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for you.
Well, I thank you. I mean, listen, folks, please don't thank me. We're all in this together. I'm trying to survive here.
All right, Alex, just let me say this really quick. I have a message for you. Alex, I'm a fellow Christian. We both know that there is only one info war, and that is getting the gospel of Jesus Christ to everyone we can. And guess what, brother? You're doing that every day. God bless you.
Well, thank you. I agree that this has happened because we've all become immoral, myself included. As George Washington said, only a moral Christian country will be able to protect these liberties. And just the corruption of being lazy, just